Hey guys, Clyde here. You're watching Play-by-Play on Clyde Plays. I've got a very special match for you tonight. It is a Tier 8 match here on Crash Zone Alpha. That's the name of the map. We have this beautiful ship. This is the USS Massachusetts. It is a Tier 8 premium battleship, secondary type battleship with long-range secondaries and a decent main armament as well. And it is being paired with the Vladivostok, a Tier 8 Russian battleship that really packs a punch. Both of these are very capable ships. And what's special about this match is that both of these ships, before the match is over, will achieve a Kraken. Now, I've placed, you can see a US flag in the upper left corner there. When I am watching the Massachusetts, I'm going to have the US flag in the corner. And when I am watching the Vlad, we're going to have a Soviet flag in the corner. That should help you kind of keep track of what's going on. So early in the match, the two battleships both started in kind of the northeast section of the map. They are moving up kind of carefully and cautiously, kind of waiting to see what's happening with enemy positions. If you look at the mini-map, we've got a whole cluster of red ships kind of in that southeast corner and a few more appearing up towards the Charlie Cap, which is where these two battleships are. So the Vladivostok, again, a Russian Tier 8 BB, packs a big wallop if you can get a hold of anybody. A really durable and tough battleship when you can get up close. And of course the Massachusetts, similar in style but for different reasons, right? It's got a great secondary armament that's going to help get scrappy. So as the battlefield starts to take shape, as we start to understand where the enemy ships are, the guys are going to move in. So we've got the Massachusetts here taking a shot at what appears to be a Duke of York. This is pretty early, I believe his first salvo of the match. We're going to watch this unfold. I tried to keep the timing of both of the ships pretty equal, so when we cut back and forth, it's relatively real time. There's a couple of times when I go back. Hopefully that'll be entertaining as the battle gets heated up. Now the Massachusetts is slightly south of the Vladivostok, so they're going to be in range of more of the red team ships as they get into battle, so you're going to see some excitement there. But that's actually kind of a good thing for the Massachusetts with its secondary capabilities. There's a salvo by the Vladivostok, knocks about 4,000 hit points off of that enemy ship. Massachusetts turning in a little bit towards the battle. There's a few things over here. We've got a Colorado. We got some ships off to the right side, the starboard side of the Mass. And we have this Shiratsuyu that seems to just be bebopping wherever he wants to go. And kind of runs into our Massachusetts here. As a battleship, don't be deterred by this. It does happen, and you can basically ignore that ship. I don't want to be rude as a battleship captain, but at the end of the day, you're aiming your guns is half done by turning the turrets and half done by turning the ship. And so you need to maintain appropriate ship orientation at all times so you can make sure you can make the plays and get the shots you need. Now there is a Pensacola. Pensacola is a very lightly armored cruiser. It's a Tier 7 cruiser, so Massachusetts has an excellent chance of making a mess of that guy's hull, and yeah, that's 18,000 damage. We got a Citadel hit there. It hit a critical section inside the ship, inside the armored portion of that ship's hull, and that is enough to do a big lot of damage. Now we're back with the Vlad. He's taking a shot at the Duke of York. And okay, that's our first kill of the match. The Vladivostok definitely worked that ship, but there were a few salvos, if you were watching earlier, from the Massachusetts. They kind of worked on it together. Now that Shiratsuyu was still sitting there idle. I believe that player might be AFK, which is not great news for our team. And he got a small hit on the Pensacola from the Vladivostok there. Pensacola is trying to do some WASD hacking. He's going to sail forward, sail backwards, turn left, turn right, try to do anything he can to not get hit. But in the end, I was about to say it doesn't even matter, but I'm pretty sure Lincoln Park would write me a nice letter about that. So we've got some torpedoes here coming in from the Z-39. Massachusetts does exactly the right thing. When you have torpedoes coming at you, you want to turn towards the torpedoes, cut your throttle, and that is going to present the smallest target for a swath of torpedoes or a salvo of torpedoes coming at you. Only took one. It's a German torpedo, so it didn't hit too hard. You can see the secondaries of the Massachusetts are going off now. He's throwing a few smaller caliber shells over at the Z-23. We've got the Lexington bringing in some bombers to try to bomb the Massachusetts as well. Like I said earlier, the Massachusetts is kind of closer to more of the red ships than the Vladivostok is, so he's kind of taken the brunt of the edge of the fight here. And just kind of looking at the mini-map right now, you can see that our team's position is kind of elsewhere. You know, they're leaning in on the Alpha Cap. We got that La Gasolina, or the Galissonière, I believe. Sorry, French folks, if you speak French, you're probably going to pronounce that better than I do. But other than that, you know, the Massachusetts is kind of alone in the near B region. Took a couple of bombs there from the Lex. The ship is burning. We used the repair earlier when we got torpedoed, right? Floods are more dangerous than fires. They do damage over time, and they slow you down. It used to be a lot more damage than it is now. So luckily for battleship players at least, Wargaming kind of eased up on some of that flood damage. That's a big 10,000 point hit against the Colorado over there. If you're watching the minimap, you can see the Vlad is kind of eyeballing the Colorado, while the Colorado's sort of distracted with the Massachusetts because they kind of have line of sight to one another. The Vladivostok has not taken his eye off the ball. He is watching the Colorado. 2 aerial torpedoes strike the Massachusetts as he turns away. Now, we talked earlier about turning into torpedoes when they're coming at you from destroyers. The same is true of aerial torpedoes, but in this situation, Massachusetts was already executing a corner. When you're in a turn like that, whether you're a destroyer or an aircraft carrier, if you see a target that's in a turn, that is a great opportunity to try to lay in some torpedoes on them. This can even be good for big battleship rounds, because oftentimes a cruiser, a destroyer, even a battleship will be really committed to that corner, and so their path of travel is very predictable. Okay, now we're back with the Vladivostok. The Z-39 is ahead of them. He's puffing some smoke and trying to get out of sight because there's a mains over there who's supporting the Vlad to the northeast. And Vladivostok, of course, is very close. So Z-39 puffs his smoke, gets hidden. Colorado starts moving out, and Vladivostok's about to give him a big surprise here. And boom, second kill for, excuse me, is that third kill? Yeah, kill for Vladivostok this match already. I guess he had the Duke of York and the Pensacola. I'd forgotten the Pensacola. We rejoin and see the Massachusetts is moving into Bravo. We come back to Vladivostok because here comes some torpedoes from the Z-39. One of the hallmarks of German destroyers is that torpedoes don't do a lot of damage, although he just ate a bunch of them there for 24,000. But they do tend to reload pretty rapidly. So, if you're up against a German destroyer, you want to be careful because they can usually put torpedoes out quicker than a lot of the other nations. Rejoining the Massachusetts, he's stepped into the Bravo cap, and he's got an eye on this Bugioni, a Tier 6 cruiser, very lightly armored. I mean, it's almost not even fair. Almost 30,000 damage in one salvo. There was a devastating strike that occurred there, so because the Bugioni was hit in a critical section and already had some damage, he basically just exploded. Not to mention there were 2 Citadels in that round. Again, huge Tier 8 battleship guns against a lightly armored Tier 6 destroyer. It's not going to be a good day if that Bugioni is given a full broadside like he was there. I think basically he was surprised, or she was surprised, and just was unaware that the Massachusetts was going to pop out around that corner like that. Lexington not giving up. Now, traditionally, United States battleships have pretty good AA. Honestly, I'm not 100% familiar with the Massachusetts arrangement, as I don't own one myself. But the Lexington is keeping the pressure on the Massachusetts, which is probably pretty smart. It's a ship that's going to provide a good threat to his team, and so keeping the pressure on him, especially where he's already half dead, is probably great. Now that there is a couple of other ships, or there are a couple other ships around the Massachusetts, it's going to be harder and harder for the Lexington to penetrate that anti-air bubble. Now there was a Mogami there. I was talking about anti-air, but the Mogami, Massachusetts had a brief glimpse at this Mogami, lined up his shot, took it, and as the Mogami fell out of detectability range, the shells still landed, destroyed that ship. Big hit, I think 8,000 damage probably, but not dwelling on that success. He's going to keep shots going on the enemy Massachusetts down there, while keeping his eyeballs on what's going on over in the Alpha Cap, because those ships are closer, they're more dangerous, and he's been watching the Massachusetts and is aware that the Mass is busy. Take a look at the mini-map. Vladivostok is, rounded that corner over there, went over there, flapped, 4 ships, and is now steaming along kind of the southeast side of all of the caps, and we rejoin the Vladivostok now. He's going to take a shot at this Massachusetts. Massachusetts has given up a pretty decent broadside right here. Given a good shot that's going to hit at the right angle and everything, this could be big damage. Okay, 4,300 I'll take. That's a productive salvo. Anything around that 4 to 5K mark, if you can do that consistently as a battleship, you're doing a great job, especially at this tier. So Vladivostok just relentlessly pursuing the battleship and potentially even the aircraft carrier. We have an old track report there, a ghost position report for the Lexington down there. And the Vladivostok is closing in on those 2 positions. One, of course, the Massachusetts we know is there. The Lexington, we just believe, is probably somewhere over in this corner, trying to stay out of range of the ships with the big guns. So we bounce back to Massachusetts. He is leaving the far side of the B cap and trying to support our other ships. Aerial torpedo strikes the starboard side of the Massachusetts. No big deal. A ship with this many hit points, aerial torpedoes are not going to do too much damage if it's just one. Okay, Vladivostok just continuing to chase and fire upon the Massachusetts. Massachusetts is in a bad spot. If you look at the minimap, we've got a 90-degree angle between our Massachusetts and our other ships up there and the Vlad. So the red team's Massachusetts has to give broadside to somebody, or has to give everybody a 45-degree angle, which means he can't properly angle in a way that's going to give him, the best possible chance to deflect shots. But to be fair, it's kind of working for him anyway, kind of just tweaking back and forth between those 2 positions, because the Vlad here has not been able to get a big piece out of him, although there's been a couple of good salvos that came in from the Massachusetts. The mains,
9,
right
8,
shoulder of our
7,
Vladivostok is
6,
the most consistent.
5, 4,
those shells coming
3,
in. That's all
2,
those tracers we're watching
1
are coming off the mains, who's doing big damage work to this thing. Here's a shot from Vladivostok.
Perfect.
And that right there is a Kraken.
Release the Kraken.
5 kills, one of the highest awards you can get in a single match in World of Warships, and our Vladivostok has achieved it. Now, Vladivostok's damage numbers are not super high, but even so, getting 5 kills is a challenge in this game. We rejoin the Massachusetts, who has taken a shot at a Bismarck. There we go. That is the 3rd kill for the Massachusetts. He turns around. Now that Graf Spey was definitely suspiciously sailing sideways. I'm thinking that was a torp run. Vladivostok kind of keeping an eye on the situation. Yep, and there's the Graf Spey torps. They're coming at us. Massachusetts isn't reloaded, doesn't quite have his guns on target for the Graf, but you can tell that that's what he's looking at. So as we come around, we may see a salvo that way. Airplanes coming in from the Lexington, again, just keeping the pressure on the Massachusetts, so he doesn't quite have all the freedom he wants, but undeterred by the airplanes. Massachusetts knows he's got enough hit points. And then what's this? This is in North Carolina with low hit points giving him a juicy broadside. You can see that North Carolina's guns are not aimed at the Massachusetts. He was thinking about another target. Perfect. And that is kill number 4 for Massachusetts. What's great about that kill is it just kind of landed in his lap, right? Oftentimes, I think when folks get Krakens, here's a replay. We can see it from Vladivostok's perspective. Oftentimes, I think when folks get a Kraken, a lot of it is about being in the right place at the right time and having a team that's backing you up. Here's kill number 5, Kraken from Massachusetts. So you've got 2 folks come into this match in a division, and so far they've got 10 of the 11 kills. Now all that's left is the Lexington. He's been picking on Massachusetts all match long, and Vladivostok is taking a shot. Okay, that's almost 13,000 damage. We're going to switch over to Massachusetts, who's taking a salvo. At this point, the poor Lexington's just kind of waiting and trying to decide what ship he wants to take into his next match. There's 19,873 damage and a Confederate award for the Massachusetts. Again, Vladivostok was 61,000 damage. Not a huge damage game, but definitely a right place, right time game for getting the Kraken. Whereas Massachusetts was definitely fending off large portions of the enemy team in order to get this 151,000 damage so far. Here's a salvo for the Lexington. This one right here, if accurate, yes. 6 kills for Massachusetts, 5 kills for Vladivostok. That's 11 kills coming from 2 players. Obviously a lot of support from the team. What a crazy match to watch. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Again, my name is Clyde. If you liked it, click the like button. If you'd like to see more stuff like this, take a look at the other videos I've made or subscribe. As always, get out there, sail with friends, and I will catch you next time.